I'm headed out to go do a roof blow off and gutter cleaning for a real estate agent that I actually met by just putting out a Facebook request for anybody who had land that would be willing to rent out some space for me to park an extra truck and trailer at. And then we ended up making a deal. So I've been storing some equipment there, and I'm going to do this job for her, and we're just going to do a direct trade for a couple months. So don't be afraid to go make deals with people to get after the things that you need to get after, especially if they're things that would generally cause you or cost you a lot of money. That's what I did in this instance. Don't be afraid to get on Facebook and just ask your community, hey, I'm looking for this. If you know anybody that has this resource, I'd love to get a connection and introduction to it. So I'll see you out there on the roof, and I'll explain a little bit more about how we're doing things. See you in a minute. Okay, so the way that I like to work this is work from top down. So what we're really doing here is we're just blowing off all the loose debris, brushing any little spots that we need to brush, and then pulling the gutters after you do all that. After you pull the gutters, then you can come back and do your dry treatment. So let's get set up here. Try to bring as much of your equipment up with you at the same time, so you're not doing a ton of trips back and forth. And guys, safety is key, but you'll see that there's a number of roofs that you'll run into, like this one, that does not have a harness hookup, and that's okay. You just need to be safe while you're working. Don't do anything that's going to cause you to fall off the roof. This is a one-story home, but you can still get really injured off of one story, so don't do anything nuts. Be safe while you're doing all this stuff so you don't end up injuring yourself, which is not very good for business. Yes, this is what a real truck looks like when it's constantly used for cleaning. Pretty dirty. All right, always check your fuel before you get on a roof, and that's why. Now I know I'm probably gonna get in the comments, hey man, blue is for kerosene, but don't judge. I know how I've got my own stuff set up. So for me, on gas cans, blue is my 2-stroke, and I don't use kerosene with anything, so I don't have any risk of cross contamination. All right, another good practice is always start your blower for the first time on the ground. You don't want to wait until you're on top of a roof, because the more you're fiddling with stuff and pulling starting cords and all that stuff, the more possibility you have of damaging something or injuring yourself. Alright, now that that's warm, it'll start just fine when we're up there. Okay, a note. When you're using dry treatment, if you're using like moss out, this stuff works best, and it's designed to spread out there, kind of like you see someone sowing a field. You want to do the same thing with this. If you're using a powder, or if you're using sodium bicarbonate, then what you're going to want to do is spread it on the top of the roof, the peak, and then every 3 to 4 feet coming down the peak in lines, because it will dilute too much to do anything. If you only do one line on top, it'll only be effective for the first about 3 to 5 feet, depending on the roof. So just get in the habit of making a line every 3 to 4 feet all the way down, and it will be much more effective. Oh, but if you're using this type, that's the granule, you just want to spread that out evenly across the entire roof, and you won't see it as much. So sometimes you have to explain to your clients that it's up there, it's just blending into the roof. Okay, so first we're going to start off by just hitting a couple of these trouble areas before we blow the roof off. And all I'm really doing here is loosening up stuff that's already on here. You can do that with your hand, you can do it with a brush. We just want this to have the best chance possible for the dry treatment to kill any little bits that are up here. Also, if you haven't worked around skylights very much, be really careful about how you blow with your blower around skylights, because a lot of the way that these skylights are built is that there's a gap underneath here so they can breathe, and if you blow too much stuff up underneath there, it can actually make its way inside the house and then drop down inside the house. So I try to scoop away as much as I can before I get in here with the blower, and that's going to reduce chances of getting stuff blown up underneath there. These little maintenance jobs like this are a pretty good money maker. After you've gotten a client's house pretty cleaned off and you're just doing maintenance stuff, a lot of times, like with a house like this is the first time I've been on this one, but if we do regular maintenance after this, it shouldn't take much longer than 30 to 45 minutes to just hit it real quick, get it healthy again, and then move on. And that's mainly just going to depend on how full those gutters are. Just knock those big bits off. Anything that's on the side, like this. Alright, and I'm actually going to pull that out with when I do the gutters. Okay, that's pretty much it for prep on this one. So we're just going to blow this off real quick and then get to the gutters. Alrighty. So whenever you're blowing roofs off that's got multiple levels to it, you want to start on the high points. So you saw me do this side and then that far side, and then come back and do the middle. I mean, it's pretty logical, but the reason we do that is because if you do the bottom first and then you blow the stuff from the top, it's going to come down on the bottom. So just make sure you don't do stuff in a way that's going to cause you to have to double up your work. Now, I like to scoop all this stuff into kind of piles to make my life a little easier. And you want to start at the downspout and then scoop away from the downspout. The reason for this is, one, you keep stuff from going into the downspout, and two, if there's a lot of water in the gutters, as you pull the stuff out of the gutters, it's going to allow that water to kind of drain down into the downspout. So just kind of scoop this stuff into sections, and you can do that. This roof is pretty simple, so you can actually just do that with your hand if you want. Totally up to you. Whatever looks the most efficient, so that you can get the job done efficiently. Now just keep in mind that you gotta clean up anything that you drop, blow off the face of the gutters if there's stuff that gets stuck in there, or sorry, that gets stuck to the side of it. And if you have downspouts that actually dump out onto the ground, these ones look like they do, then you can rinse all these little bits that are left over after you get done pulling the gutters. You can rinse them down and then just clean the ground off. Don't try not to do that when you've got gutters that go into a French drain system, because those drains will get backed up, and then you end up with a bigger problem where they have to hire somebody to come out and do a subterranean clearing, and that's not fun. Always wear gloves when you're cleaning gutters, guys, not just because it's gross, but because this stuff will cut you up very quickly. You don't have to take my word for it. You'll learn. If you haven't learned already. I sure did. And if they have leaves in their gutter, use that to your advantage, because once you get a nice little pile going, it really cleans up the bottom pretty nicely. Can't say the same for when it's all sludge though. That's harder to deal with. Now, if you're on the East Coast, which I lived in Virginia for a while, you're gonna have a lot more deciduous trees out there. So you're gonna have more leaves, and it's most likely not as mucky as this unless you're doing it in the rainy season, which is nice, because then a lot of times you can just come through with a blower, blow this stuff out, and then do ground cleanup. But up here in the Northwest, it likes to be wet most of the year, and so that just makes a huge mess all over the siding. It takes us a little bit longer to do gutters because of that, but it's still pretty quick once you learn how to do it, and you're not wasting a lot of time with stuff. Man, I'll tell you, you really learn how well your cardiovascular system works or doesn't work when you start trying to explain stuff on camera while you're working. Sorry if I'm way out of breath right now. So if you can tell what I'm doing here, you just scrape it till you have a pile, pull that pile, and then keep scraping. You can do this with a gutter spoon, you can do it with your hand, whatever floats your boat. I find that a gutter spoon definitely helps. unless there's a lot of deciduous trees. And then, to be honest, I just like using my hand better, but that's a personal preference thing. By the way, gutter cleaning from the top down, great leg workout. And it's way faster than moving your ladder a million times. There's the drain. As you're cleaning these out, make sure you're checking these downspouts if they have plugs in them. If there's a lot of stuff that's gotten stuck in them, pull it off, or you can stick your blower down in there. And a lot of times if they come out, I don't know if you can see around this thing or not, but if they come out on the ground, a lot of times you can just blow them from the top and blast all that stuff out on the ground and then just clean it up that way. Another trick, not really trick, another thing that can be helpful is if you bring like a 30-gallon trash bag up here with you, then you can dump your bucket into that trash bag and then just toss it off the roof when you're done. I did not do that today, so I gotta go dump this thing. But that can be another one of those things that'll save you a little bit of time. Talk to your clients about where they want the stuff dumped at. Sometimes they've got yard waste, sometimes they don't, and they just have a dump area. So I like to put it in the woods whenever possible and just let all these leaves break down, turn into fertilizer. All right, so we got the bucket emptied. We'll go back and finish that last side, dust this roof, and then just do the ground cleanup. All right, now on this one, I'm going to use the blower as a way of just clearing out all the little bits. But when you're using a blower on these, you don't want to actually blow it hard. You kind of want to use the idle to just push this stuff and blow away from the house. Like if I get some splatter on this motorhome, I can rinse that off really easy. But if it gets splatter all over the side of the house, it's a lot harder to get it off. I will come up and clean that up afterwards. Don't forget if you drop something on the ground like that. All right, so that's that. Now I'm just gonna sprinkle. This is what you want the gutters to look like when you're done. Cleaned out. Everything, it can flow well. The water's gonna flow well through here. So that's what your end state. That's what your end state is supposed to look like. Okay, so spreading these granules, I like to kind of start at the top and just spread them out like you're spreading seed, right? All the way to the edge. Pay extra attention to areas that have a lot of existing moss. All right, so there's extra down here. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of sprinkle this, make sure that this area gets extra treatment, because there's active moss here that we want to die and fall off. Okay, so kind of come up the edge like that. Spread that out. Now you really don't want a whole lot of it underneath the roof area, so make sure it's spread out really well, because if you get piles of it under the roof line, it's going to turn white. So you want it spread out. You probably can't see it on camera, but that's a good thing. If you can see it on camera, then there's probably too much. Right, so all right, so if you're using this stuff or any granule, you really shouldn't see it when you're done, or you have too much on there, unless it's a black roof. You can kind of see it on a black roof. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Now I'm just gonna do ground cleanup, put all this away, and we'll be out of here. If you have a bunch of crap on the gutters that didn't come off when you blow it, you can take a towel, put it over your brush like this, and then you're really just gonna walk along and hit that gutter and knock off all that nastiness. Now this is not a gutter brightening, so it's not going to make it perfect, but you just want those big chunks that might have fallen over the gutter out of there. So what we did on that job was roof blow off, dry treatment, did a little bit of brushing, and then cleaned out the gutters. After the camera was off, I made sure that all the ground was cleaned up. I did a little bit on camera, but that's just a good note for you, is after you get done doing everything on top of the house, make sure you do a good walk around, make sure everything is cleaned up on the ground side so we don't leave a mess when we leave jobs. We want to keep our clients happy. After the camera was off, I actually went back and rinsed off that RV just to make sure that it was in good working order. So overall, it took about an hour and a half. It was a $400 value. I did a direct trade with her though, so that I can store my extra truck and trailer on her property. Don't be afraid to go out there and make some deals with people, save yourself some money, and bless them while you're at it. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. As usual, like, comment, share, subscribe, do all those cool YouTube-y things so that I can reach more people. And if you got any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment box, and I'll see you on the next video. Find somebody to help today, bless the people that you run into, and have a wonderful day. Later.